Hello and welcome. Now, before you watch this video about 70s and 80s health and safety within the world of Blue Peter, I'd like to make an announcement on about this thing that's being produced here by TGM, a production company I run. Now, originally, this was supposed to be a serious discussion video where I sat down and went, right, I was stood here, actually, I went, right, look at that! You wouldn't get that now, would you? And then the more I thought about it, yes, the more it turned into stand-up comedy. Now, I know that Here's What I Made Earlier is not the YouTube channel, nor the TV show, to produce stand-up comedy. But because it's filmed in a way that there is a clip enough, there's enough clip of it, right? I can then utilise that in a future stand-up set, where I do my actual set and then piece that at the end. Because here's one I filmed earlier, the joke's there. Now, this video, when you see the stand-up set next edited, this video, film, I'm going to call it, will include clips from the 70s and 80s versions of Blue Peter with two male Blue Peter presenters, because I think the female Blue Peter presenters at that time, if I'm not mistaken, had more common sense not to put their lives at risk. It's same with mascots, like Pudsey. Probably a woman has played Pudsey in the past, but it probably stinks in there, sweaty and stinks. I wouldn't want to do it, so. And it's just when you have them at school, normally it's like, oh, that's Tim in year 11, and it's like, none of the women are going to do that. They've got common sense not to do that. So, what you'll see is the stand-up, right? Which wasn't originally, but now is stand-up. And in between, you'll see pauses, you'll see clips to help demonstrate my point, and I will discuss bits and bobs. And I will reference those clips. But in the next time you see this stand-up set, because I now have the original file, I will be editing it so it's slightly different, and it won't be the same. So it won't sort of feel the same if you watch it over on Tom's Comedy Club in the future stand-up set. But for now, this isn't where it is. It's just because the more I was thinking about it, the more I was going, right, I'm going to say this, and this, the more it just turned out to be like I'm taking the mickey out of it. Like I'm being comical about it, because health and safety in the 70s and 80s for Blue Peter, when you watch the clips I've chosen, you think, that won't happen now, and you wouldn't want it. How did someone pass that off? And you think about it, it becomes more funnier and more funnier. And on this channel, Here's What I Made Earlier, I wanted to talk more about Blue Peter's past, but I feel like I talk a little bit too much about Blue Peter's future and Blue Peter's present. I want to talk more about the past. So adding this in sort of like fills that void, and I want to improve the way I make stuff for this channel, because I can't, unless I try and make my own version of Blue Peter, where it's like talking about Blue Peter but in the Blue Peter style. That could work, but things like that don't happen that easy, and I want to sort of like break boundaries for what someone can do on YouTube, talking about Doctor Who, Blue Peter, like comedy and all this. I wanted to just sort of break boundaries, and so hopefully by doing something like this might help take that step forward. So without further ado, here is 70s and 80s, or 80s and 70s, depending on which way when I'm making the thumbnail sounds better, health and safety with the world of Blue Peter. Enjoy, and make sure if you find it funny, well, just make sure you let me know, so that when I transfer it over I don't have to do heavily edits. But bye-bye. You're watching the TGM production.
I made earlier.
Here's one 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 I made earlier.
Hello and welcome back to Here's What I Made Earlier, the YouTube channel all about Blue Peter. Now today we're doing something very special. We're talking about 70s and 80s health and safety within the world of Blue Peter. Now let's start off was talking about our first presenter to have a faux pas that is in what he always ends up, and I'll be honest with you, he always ends up in one of those programs where it's like when TV goes horribly wrong on Channel 5, like I know, and you're gonna have like someone that Blue Peter, but not at that time that clip was shown. So let's talk about John Noakes is our first runner-up. John Noakes, the longest running male presenter. Connie Hook being the longest running female presenter, and I don't think you can have a longest running dog presenter. Probably tortoise turtle. They're probably still alive. Shelley's still alive. Is Shelley the turtle alive? Let's talk about John. Now, John Noakes has done a lot of things in his life. He once was near bonfire. I mean, he kept a safe distance. Whoa, safe distance. Whoa, safe distance. Fire! Fire! What? Vikings? Whoa. Step back. I'm not being involved in that. Not being involved in that. No. But in this area, let's talk about Nelson's column in London. I have no idea how different Nelson's column looks now than it did then. Probably a lot more shinier. Probably someone cleaned it every so often because it's Lord Nelson. And what makes me... It's quite tall. Nelson's column is quite tall. Now, health and safety. Here we go. This is what we all want to know. What's the problem with health and safety? Well, let's give an example. So if Joel was going to... This is an example in the modern prison. Joel was going to go up Nelson's column and be strapped in a harness. He'll have a rope attached to him. He'll be wearing a helmet. He'll be wearing a full body armor. He'll be wearing... Everything will be secure. And what happened to John Noakes? Well, he just got told to climb up this ladder. And there's a wide shot at one point. So he's climbing up the ladder, climbing up the ladder. What? What's going on? And they're all like, someone's probably said to him, don't look down. Don't look down. Not done in that voice, obviously. They've said, don't look down. When you go up, don't look down. You might fall. What? I don't like going up ladders the best of times because I like wobble. You're climbing up. He's like, right, I'm up there now. Excuse me. Are we going further? You didn't tell me about that. And it's like, you look at it and you go, that really is health and safety gone mad. Because there isn't any. That's why it's mad. Because there isn't any health and... I don't know who at the BBC decided we're going to let that happen. Yes, I know Biddy Baxter probably had something to do with it, and there's probably been a conversation about that. But I'm assuming Biddy Baxter went to the head of BBC and went, right, I know that might look dangerous, but wait a minute. And they've gone, okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to let you have that. Yep. That's probably how that's happened because, I mean, no one wanted... Everyone just wants to do the best for the programme, and if that's what Biddy Baxter thought, well, that's probably the case. But if you look at it, you go, really? That's quite dangerous.
Here we go.
It's a long way, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
How high is it?
Oh, it's about 180 feet, I think.
Is it? How are the ladders fixed on?
They're
Quite firmly?
They're roped quite firmly around the actual column itself.
Yeah.
And they're very secure, like, you know.
Well, you're going up first, are you?
Yeah, I'll be going up first.
Well, if you go up first, now I'll follow.
Okay. Then.
I've climbed up Nelson's column once before, nearly 10 years ago, but that ascent was easy. The column was surrounded by scaffolding, and it was a fairly gentle climb from one stage to the next. This was going to be a lot harder. Once I'd reached the base of the actual column, there was only one way up, vertically.
That first bit of the ladder doesn't half wobble. Oh, I'd got myself held on with a rope against the lightning conductor. They didn't tell me that before I set off. you'll have a little rest at this point.
You have to take a rest every so often when climbing a ladder this long. Otherwise your muscles weaken and you could easily lose your grip and fall. Our cameraman Terry was waiting at the top, and he really did have a bird's eye view of me reaching the worst part of the climb. At this level, the plinth on which Nelson stands overhangs the column. I found myself literally hanging from the ladder with nothing at all beneath me.
You told me there was overhang, but you didn't tell me it leant to one side.
Now, let's talk about our next presenter, Peter Duncan. Yes, Peter Duncan. The famous presenter who also, I didn't know this until quite recently, like a few years ago, he was also a scout. He had a high role, he had like a similar role to Bear Grylls has in the Scout Association. Did I know that? No, I did not! Wow. And Peter Duncan still does stuff. Panto, if I'm not believing to be wrong. Now, in this clip, we've got, you have to sort of, when you look at clips, when you try and make the type of thing I'm trying to make here, you have to look at the clips and go, does that work on its own? If you get rid of the information either side, does that work on its own? And I'm going, that does, because it makes my point incredibly, and that's what you want from an interesting party within that. You want something that says, that really does tell me what's going on. Now with this issue, this health and safety nightmare, let's talk about Big Ben. Big Ben is a national landmark. It's our Eiffel Tower, it's our Statue of Liberty, it's our whatever that one is from Rio de Janeiro. I can't remember what it is. That's annoying. That I should know what that is. Anyway, I'm not very good at geography. I don't know what Rio de Janeiro is. It's in Brazil or Rio. I don't know. I'm not going to make that a statement or claim here. That's not the forum to do that. And so Big Ben is, and still is, a big thing, and it gets renovated quite often, and they do a lot to it. And in this case, Big Ben needed cleaning. Okay, right. So someone said, right, Big Ben needs cleaning. Do you want to bring Blue Peter along? Yeah, right. Who do you want to get to do it? Who wants to do it? Peter Duncan's gone, I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll do it. Yes, I'll do it. Yes. Like a very tall man decides, it's safe for me to do this. Now, there's more safety in this than Nelson's column due to rope, but I don't know how sturdy rope is when someone's sat on it. So, before the clip, the bits that I cut out, because I only have a short clip and it needed to be fair use, so I needed to adjust it. You sort of get this man who's been doing it for 5 years, right? And he is what is known to be the only one that can do this, really. Well, once you get Blue Peter involved, it doesn't matter if he can only do it, we're going to get him to have a go. So they're like, right, I'm going to show you how it works. And all they've got is a wooden plank that's about yay big, right? And some rope attached to it. And my favourite bit from this clip, you're going to see in a minute, but my favourite bit is when Peter Duncan says to this man, do you want me to wear a harness? Can I wear a harness? And this bloke's like, no, you don't need one. And I'm thinking to myself, right. So you've got a man, undisclosed weight. So we don't know how heavy he is compared to the wood and the rope. So us as viewers are like, well, surely that's not safe. I can imagine what parents were thinking at the time when the kids were watching it. They're probably going, I don't want to look. That sounds like Albert Falpont asked that question. I don't want to look. And he's like, really? So he gets on it, he sits on it, and he's like, this clearly is not safe. Even I, right, think it's not safe. I wouldn't do it, but bearing in mind there's a lot of things I wouldn't do. So he sat on it, and he's like, right, But you see the rope, and I'm thinking, that's going to snap at some point. They go, right, wouldn't sit down, gentle lady. And I'm thinking to myself, really? And I thought, how odd. So, here is the clip.
You saw how I got over there. You can do the same. Get this seat, cock your leg right over. And this leg.
Get that in there like that.
That's it. This one over.
Oh, look, no hands.
Just hold on to there, yeah.
Right.
That's it, mind your leg on this wire here. Okay. That's it. Now just stand inside the seat there. That's it. Now, just hold on to that rope there. Alright? Now, pull that knot tight. And you just sit there, you're not going to go anywhere then.
Which hand do you put on?
Put your left hand underneath and your right hand above. That's it. Now, when you want to go down, you just move, just slacken that knot off.
I wasn't the only one to go over the side. The Blue Peter cameraman, Butch Calderwood, went down too. And this was the first picture he took.
Slide the knot down.
I got it.
Okay?
Yeah.
Just work your way down like that. Keep going down. Don't slacken it off anymore. That's quite enough.
You kind of forget where you are for a minute, don't you, really?
Yeah, we don't. As long as you don't step back and admire your work. Keep going. Every 6 inches.
Oh, look at the speed this boy's attaining now.
Yeah.
The speed.
Keep the speed down. 6 inches at a time. Then watch your feet.
Yeah.
Make sure you don't kick the glass on the clock face.
Yeah. Reg came down to join me. In his time, he's climbed up everything, from the Royal Albert Hall to Nelson's Column, so Big Ben was no problem.
Can you send me down the bucket, Terry?
All right. Oh. I hope there's a nice cold drink in there. Thank you.
Now, can you
hang on to it, do you?
are you gonna? Can you untie it?
You've just seen the clip there, and you know now, right? Now that you're on the same wavelength, how dangerous it looks. It looks incredibly dangerous. And now what you would do is, let's say if Radzzy was doing it, I wouldn't say Radzzy's a similar height. I think Joel is probably similar height to Peter Duncan. I think. From a sitting down point of view, I would have said Radzzy. So let's go with Radzzy on this, right? Because I think this example, because Radzzy's scaled things before. So when Radzzy is scaling this massive, like, dam, he's strapped up to harnesses like it's no one's business. So if he was doing it, sat on that, then you would be a harness from your belly probably, right, attached to something. And then you have harnesses attached to the actual Big Ben cliff edgy thing that you climb over. You would be like harnessed, helmet. I mean, well, we're talking about the 70s and 80s here. They could at least wear a helmet. Helmets were invented. So, it's like, you see him winching down and then trying to clean it. You see that massive wide shot, right? It's probably from a helicopter, because drones weren't invented. So it's probably from a helicopter from that way. And you see him and he's like, doing, like a window cleaner. And it's like, right, I understand window cleaners are in this massive cage thing. They press a button and go. And they're in a massive box and they've got a little ledge to walk across. But he sat on a podium going, right, I'm gonna winch this down. That rope might snap, but I'm gonna winch it down. Is that not correct? That's what I would have gone. Is that not definitely correct? Who? Is that not alright? that not definitely correct? And you wouldn't sit down. He's getting the bucket. Right. What was the bucket? It's been on the head and I fall off. There's no safety there. I mean, I don't think that would have been broadcast if that had happened. So you know from watching it from the beginning that it was safe, that no one was injured because it was broadcast. Unless you run Big Breakfast and you're broadcasting live, but that's another story for The Weird Side, which is my YouTube channel, all about TV, behind the scenes, and not about every program possible, because I've got separate channels for that. So you really go that, you know he's safe, because it's all broadcast. That's the same for John Noakes as well. It's all broadcast, so it's all safe. Everyone's hunky-dory. And that is just like, yay, everyone's fine. And you're in the studio going, there's probably someone at home going, no, please, no, no. And so, it'd be like, so if you're watching that, you'd be like, hello, you. And I just think, it just shows that if there's a challenge there, Blue Peter will take it. And I don't think it's just Blue Peter. If you think of countless other TV shows from the 70s and 80s, probably 60s, and let's include the 90s, but probably not the 90s, where safety was never the first part of call, it was make good television, because as you've seen, the clips are amazing. It's good television, and the BBC want to churn them out on their BBC archive, account online, because it's on YouTube, it's on Facebook, it's on all the social media platforms, so it's a section, it's a branch of the BBC, let's call it a department, the archive department, let's call it that. And it makes good television, and that's what you want from an excellent clip of Blue Peter. You want good television, you want entertainment with it, and you want something that will become a moment for years to come, so kids will watch it now, parents will share the clip with the kids, and everyone can enjoy it for years to come. And if they want to rerun that episode of BBC 4, please do. I can do the continuity announcement, or we can sort of edit this into that programme as a retrospective, or I don't know, commission it? I don't know. But overall, I think that Blue Peter has this sense of, it knows what it wants. And it knows how to make entertainment. But looking back at it now, John Noakes and Peter Duncan could have done that more safer than they did. I don't know who was going, I don't know, I'm more curious about the cameramen, really. And people operate the camera, sound, everyone behind the scenes trying to film that as well is another thing. Because they're probably not safe either. So it's not only John Noakes presenting Blue Peter in a dangerous position, so are the crew. We have to not forget the crew there. The crew are also in a dangerous position, and that, I think that's not appalling, it's just absolutely hilarious, because it means that they're in that position that no one wants to be in, and you're like, really? Really? That's the dangerous position I'm in? Well, come on, let's film it, woo! And you got to admire all this. And so, as we draw a close to this, the 70s and 80s were an interesting time for Blue Peter. We might come back and discuss more about different areas of the 70s and 80s in Blue Peter. But for now, the safety has been closed off. We've now done a risk assessment, and we've now made sure that they're as safe as houses. Thank you for listening. That was one we made earlier. Bye-bye.